Many thanks for staying with us. You may want to double check the ingredient used in the preparation of your hot pepper sauce, popularly called Shito, because the Narcotic Control Board has revealed a worrying trend of Shito laced with cannabis in the country, especially among young people. NACOP has found that most students are consuming cannabis through their hot pepper sauce they send to school. Take a look at this report.
Hot pepper sauce, popularly known as Shito, can best be described as a student's companion, especially to those in boarding houses. It comes in handy for every student, supplementing the food taken from the dining hall. However, a worrying trend identified by the Narcotics Control Board during its outreach program in schools revealed that some students are lacing Shito with cannabis. Some reasons being that it helps them to study effectively. Some students have been sharing their experiences.
We were just eating some gari and Shito, and he brought out some Shito from his chop box. We just put it on a gari and we started eating. So afterwards, I think it was early in the morning. I went to class and I was really feeling dizzy. So I had to go to the dispensary. I went to the dispensary and I reported that I was feeling dizzy. And I was given some medication, so I had to sleep there throughout the day. So I didn't even notice that there was something in the Shito until he told me there was some form of weed in the Shito.
And even my school, we used to do it. We had boys who plays weed inside their Shito. It is very, very common in most of the boys' school.
Deputy Director of NACOP, Michael Ado, is urging parents to take interest in what their wards consume while in school.
You know, some of the children start using cannabis right from the junior secondary school, JHS. That is where they start. So when they go to the senior secondary school, they will want to continue. Actually, they get addicted to the use of the drug in the junior secondary school. So when they go to the secondary school, they may not be able to get it to smoke. But they send Shito, so they've decided to add the cannabis to the Shito so that it will give them the same effect.
But how do they do that? And how are you able to tell?
Oh, there has been instances where some people have given their Shito to some friends, and just after they've eaten the Shito, something happens to them. Something like high fever or something, and when you take them to the hospital, it is detected that they have banned substances in them, cannabis sativa. So that is how come. We've also been students before, especially those of us who went to the secondary schools, especially boys' school. There are so many of them. They call it wee Shito, and if you don't take care, normally people have two. He has proper Shito, he has the wee one. If you go asking them, begging them for Shito, they will give you the wee one. When you take it and you are not lucky, then it knocks you off. So it is there, it is happening.
How are we reaching out to some of these young people? You say as young as 15.
We are trying to battle this canker in two ways. Preventing those people who want to grow it, who want to transport it, who want to distribute it, who want to prevent them. At the same time, we are educating people, especially the students. So we go to the second cycle institutions, we go to the JHS, we go to the tertiary institutions, and we educate them that it is not something that they should joke with. They should refrain from them. So we are educating. So these are the two divisions that we have at the Narcotics Control Board, the enforcement division, and then the demand reduction to reduce the demand for the cannabis. So we are working seriously over there.
The Ghana Standard Authority has a department which often receives requests from parents and hospitals. Director of Corporate Communication, Dr. Kofi Amponsa Bediako, is urging parents in doubt of the behavior of their children to put in their request.
parent. Usually, if the request comes from a parent, that parent concerned might have been in doubt with regard to the behavior of the child, and therefore to be certain about whether the child abuses substances or not. So once the request comes, we conduct a test on the child or the person, and then send the result field back to the doctor. These requests come in not too often, probably because parents are not aware that they can make use of services. I think we need to be worried because there are many children out there who are abusing drugs and other substances, but are not known by their parents.
The Narcotic Control Board is also urging consumers of alcoholic beverages to be vigilant, as findings reveal that some alcoholic beverage manufacturers are infusing cannabis into their product.
Cannabis here, cannabis there, cannabis everywhere, even in the Shito and in the beverages. I have here in the studio Sylvester KOOMSON. He is head of education at NACOB. Let's continue this conversation and take it a bit further. Mr. KOOMSON, you're welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So I just want to find out, how bad is the situation when it comes to very difficult to detect ways in which people are using cannabis, Shito beverages?
Yes, for somebody to know that, for instance, Shito, if there's some cannabis in it or not, is quite difficult task for any ordinary person to know. But what we can see here, per our training and then the investigation that we've done so far, the issue is more peculiar with students. So what we are saying here is that the responsibility of parent is very paramount.
I just wanted to find out, before we even go there, how bad is the situation? Like, to what extent are young people really using this?
People are abusing it. People are abusing it though, but because we are also on the ground, so we are able to manage with the situation. That is why it has come up.
Okay.
Like
so, for example, if you take 10 schools, what's the probability?
For now, I will not be able to give you that. I don't want to sit here and give you that.
I mean, it's not like it's not like a fixed number, but a rough idea. If you give us a rough idea, so if I take 10 schools, 10 boys' schools, or 10 schools in Ghana, for example.
Let me correct. It's not only boys' schools.
Not only boys' schools. Is that that those that
my boss said it boys especially. The word is especially. So what it means that it cuts across.
Yeah. So, but if you take about 5 schools, or let's say 10 schools, is it possible that about 5 of them you have this problem there?
I think that would be on the high side to say maybe 10 schools, 5 schools will have it.
Okay, so it's at a level where we can actually manage it.
Yes.
All right. Yes. So let's talk about what you were saying earlier, that you found. Let's talk about what you found and how we can manage it, seeing that we are at a level where we can actually manage it, so it's not out of hand.
Yeah, we have operatives on the ground as well to investigate these issues. We have intelligence units. It's not everything that we can voice it out, but we have that, and through that we've been able to identify this problem. And then, as he mentioned earlier on, it is something that people are, even when we were in secondary school, people were doing that. But the issue that we have to look at it critically is how best are we tackling it. Okay. That is where it is very critical for us.
Tell us about it.
Looking at it, we know that at that age, from 8, 9, they're about to 25, our brain is still developing. It's very critical. And so if anyone to engage himself in such activity, we can be sure that we are going to have a problem as a country. And so our focus has been more on the prevention, prevention education. What we do is that we go to not only the DHS, we go to primary schools as well, because at that age it's also very important, especially upper primary.
Are you not rather drawing their attention to it for them to want to give it a try?
Not at all, not at all. It is very important for us. We know there's a lot of myth surrounding people. I mean, when you go to schools and you engage them, they will tell you that we've been told that when we take will be so sharp, You'll be able to sit for a very long time. You'll be able to make it become very bold and all that. So it is very, very critical for us to go into that direction so that you will let them know how dangerous this drug is in order for them not to, because it's two ways. Once you start that, what we are trying to do is that we are delaying initiation for the person or for that potential student to go into it.
So the way you're managing it as NACOP is that you're going to the very lowest, starting from the very lowest levels in schools,
and then moving
talk
up
to
yes.
them about this.
Yes, it's very, very important, and it's very effective as well, because we need to let them know. It's very important. You know, the issue of information is all over the place. So if you have a child and you don't let the child know from good and bad, even though they know good from bad, but they need counseling, they need help so that they will make an informed decision.
Yeah, decision. So when you go to these schools, what's the strategy? You just go to tell them that, look, it's wrong for you to take this. If you do this, it will happen. This will be the consequence. Or you actually go there with practical stories of people who have tried and known the negative consequences, and you use it to tell the story. I mean, yes, what's the strategy?
Yes, using somebody who have used it and coming out of it is not helpful.
Why?
Because if somebody who have used it, I will normally call them recoverer, somebody who have recovered, to come and stand in front of children and tell them that I used to do it, but now I've been able to come out. It means, what it means is that you are telling that
you
student,
can do it.
You can do it and then come out.
You can do it and come out.
So it's not effective. Those people become more effective when they are into the rehab centers. That is where you have people who are trying to come out. Then they can identify with somebody who have recovered from it.
So that they can identify with the problems or the troubles. How difficult is it to come out? It is to come out.
Yes. So we don't encourage that, and scientifically it has proven that when it's not effective.
It's not effective.
We don't do that at all.
So essentially, we are at a point where we can manage it, but these are things that parents should be conscious of.
Yes.
How can parents know? I have children. I take my children to school. I've given them Shito to go to school. How do I know? And they're going to be in school now that we have double track. They're spending more time in school. So about 5 months. My sister is in school. She's in school for 5 whole months. I take her to school. I give her Shito. I don't know that there's weed in it. What can parents do?
Yes. The first thing is that the children, before they go to school, they normally stay at home. So the parents become the first point of contact. So it's very, very important for parents to have enough, I'm using the word enough time. It doesn't mean that you spend the whole day with the children, but you should know who your children are, the type of friends they have, even the school that they are, the classroom, the teacher, the gap between after school, before you get home or whatever. We need to know all those things. We need to know their performance. All this is very important, and we need to listen to them as well, because when you have time for them, they identify with you. Once you're able to establish that, before even you goes to secondary school, you have been able to establish that relationship. And then we come to the issue of Shito that we are talking about. We should be able to provide for our children, and we should try.
Yeah, but you provide it for them. How they are going to get the weed and put it in? You don't.
No, they only do that. That's why I started with the issue of being so close to your children.
Okay.
It's another way of preventing the child to develop resistance too, because you know that what do you call it? Peer pressure is also so critical when you talk about children engaging in drugs. So when you are able to establish that good bonding with your children, it means what you are doing is that you are developing that child's system to resist any negative influence over that child.
Okay.
And so once the child find him or herself in that level, it is proven the probability of that child going for a drug or whatever it is.
So, but it's a parent takes the child to school. The child is already doing the weed in the Shito. Is there a way that parents can actually? Are there any tips for parents to help them detect if their child has been involved?
There are so many ways.
Okay.
One of the examples is that if you realize that your child performance is reducing, it should be a cause of concern.
Okay.
You might have a child who is very friendly, and all of a sudden you see that child withdrawing. You should be concerned about it. Or all of a sudden you see that child having different kinds of friends, or going up there and coming in very late, you should be concerned. Or all of a sudden, it becomes very rebellious. When you talk back. You should be concerned. Or seeing other paraphernalia, other items like strings, seeing some, weed symbols, having those things around him, you should also be concerned. So these are some of the signs that you have to look up for.
Okay. Let's talk about dealing with narcotics in general. Yesterday was the day of International Day of Against Drug Abuse, and you went to Bundasi to put to flames a lot of narcotics that you have seized. First of all, I find it a bit fascinating how is it regulated such that some don't go somewhere, some of the drugs don't go to other places. I mean, before I even bring in my main question, how do you guys do it?
Yeah, it's very, very straight. Let me give you an example. I'll give you the step.
Yeah.
Once we detect if somebody swallow it or somebody trying to put it whatever it is, once you are arrested, there's a form that you have to fill to testify that truly this is what I had. And then once that one is done, we process you for court, because we can't keep somebody without doing the due diligence. We go to court, and then it is also tested by standard authority to give the credence to whatever you have to prove that this is it. Okay. And then standard authority also takes their records to making sure that yes, this is what you brought, it is true, this and this is the weight and all that. And this is what we use to process and take it to court. And once you get to court, it is more or less out of our hands. So, but we keep them, because we need to keep them at a safe place till the determination
exactly
of
the point.
Case.
So I said, where is a safe place? Because
we
people can always...
No,
I mean,
it's very restricted.
Very restricted.
Very, very restricted. Okay. Very, very restricted. So you don't have access to that place.
So yesterday, someone said, I was here on the show with the Rastafari Council, and they have been pushing for decriminalization of the use of cannabis. For example, they said, for example, we cannot fund our national health insurance, we cannot fund our free SHS, but yet we are burning $3 million.
We don't want to give prominence to these sayings, because we should be thinking about how well our children will grow and become reasonable citizens in our country. So I don't think that we have time for that. But what we are saying is that per our laws, it is criminal to engage in, when you hear people saying these things, at times it's a source of worry, because we haven't sat back to look at the situation that we have at hand now. Can you imagine? We have instances where people have taken this weed and caused killing people and all over the place. Recent, some few, I think months ago, it happened. So we need to rather look at the betterment or the good, compared to what we are talking about, the burning the money. If you can't find your health insurance, so because of that, you want us to...
No, the argument has been that other countries who have legalized it are making money to support the economy.
See, that is where
No, the argument is that we can regulate its use and make money out of it.
We are like what our law says. PND's law 236 is very clear about that. What we are looking at is that, for instance, the team for this year, I don't know if the team for this year is the what we call health for justice, justice for health. What they are trying to say that we should strike a balance between looking at somebody who is sick in terms of drug and then also the criminal justice system. Yeah. That is where we are looking at it. But I personally, as an organization, we don't want us to rush and say that let's legalize it, because there are a lot of systems that we need to put in place before we can think of doing that.
Very well, very well. And finally, going forward, what can you say about the steps that we're taking as NACOB, the steps we're taking as a country going forward to protect our young people from illicit drugs, and to keep this also conversation that has been opened about decriminalization and legalizing going forward?
Yes, as NACOB, we are, based on our mandate, we are more interested to making sure that our children are safe. They are the future generation of this land. If you're a land where you're going to have full of people who are sick, who are not able to do anything, that means our human resource base, then that country is in danger. So what we are seeking to do, or what we are doing, is that we make sure that our children live a healthy lifestyle and be able to contribute towards the development of our country.
Mr. KOOMSON, thank you very much for coming. I've been talking to Sylvester KOOMSON, he's head of education at NACOP there. So you want to check out the shito that people are eating and also the beverages. So I just before you go, I forgot about this. The beverages. Is there a way the NACOP checks with the pubs? Because there are actually places that people will mention easily where they know that there is something laced with weed which is being sold there.
Yes, we have operatives under the ground. Operatives who are working tirelessly, and then you hear.
I see.
Some of this.
Okay,
yes.
we'll wait to hear what you make of those. We're talking about weed here with Sylvester KOOMSON, head of education at NACOP. Thank you very much for coming once again.